Yo, what's good? Big Z here. I hope everyone's doing alright. I know this coronavirus situation has gotten pretty crazy. I hope you guys are all staying safe and using this time to make some more music. I know I've been working on a ton of music in the past week or two while I've pretty much been stuck at home. But anyway, let me show you how I made my new single. So you can see by looking at the project how simple this track is. There's actually only a few instrument tracks. Like if you start right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 8 different synth tracks for the entire song. And then the rest down here is all drums and effects. So it's a pretty simple song, but I like how it turned out. So I'll just start from the beginning and explain how I made all the sounds and tell you guys a little bit more about it. So first of all, I got the acapella for the song from the record label Strange Fruits. They sent it to me, and then I built the song around that. So the acapella is a cover of a Jonas Brothers track, and the vocals are by Bowden. I'll link his stuff below. But so I started with this acapella right here.
Caught my heart about 1, 2 times, don't need the question, the reason I'm yours. And I move the other Lucifer just to see you smile, 'cause you got no flaws.
So I think I actually started by making some chords. So you can see the chords in this pad section right here. So I started off with those chords. That's just a super simple serum sound, just a sol wave, 7 voices of unison, some detune, and I have this macro down here that's slowly opening it up throughout the track. The 3 things being affected by this macro control right here are the detune, the level is going down as I open up the macro, and then this cutoff of this filter is opening up. Then I added this tremolo just to give it some movement. So layered with that, I kind of have a little drone sound in the background. And I'm pitch bending that drone sound at the end of every 4 bars just to keep things a little interesting. This drone sound is just a sol wave with more detune than the last one I showed you, and it has the same macro control going on there, just so I can open it up throughout the track. Now we can talk about one of the main sounds in the song, which is this ARP lead right here.
1, 2 times, don't need the question, the reason I'm yours.
This sound is another sol wave right here, so it's just 1 voice of unison, so it's right in the middle of the mix. I've got this envelope right here that's controlling the cutoff of this filter in the effects section. Then I also have a multi-band compressor on here, and this reverb and delay is turned off because I ended up using external reverb and delay. And I have this macro that's changing a lot of things around as I open and close it. So I've got the cutoff map to that macro, I've got the mix of this hyper section map to it, so it widens up. So it adds more voices of unison and widens the whole sound. Then I'm also controlling the level of the oscillator with it, and then the sustain and the decay of the envelope down here. So then you can see in the automation settings, I have a ton of automation going on in this track. So it only has like 8 synth sounds, like I said before, but all of those are being heavily automated throughout the track to keep everything interesting. So as everything builds up, I have a bunch of different automation going on here. Most of the automation I'm adding on these synths is really just controlling the cutoffs of the filters to open them up, and also adding some more reverb and delay to them to open them up as well. And then everything's brought down to 0 right when the drop hits. And then you can see throughout the drop, I kind of open it up some more until the end of the drop, just so it keeps the energy building. Let's talk about a couple of the other sounds here. So I start off with this break bass thing, which is kind of a toned down version of the other bass sound you'll hear in the drop. So this sound is another saw wave. I know like every single sound in this track is just a saw wave, but they're all processed differently to make them sound different. But yeah, this is just a saw wave down 2 octaves, 7 voices unison, some detune on there. That's what the envelope looks like. For effects, I have a multi-band compressor. I'm cranking this tube distortion all the way up. And then I have this low pass filter with the cutoff being modulated by the envelope. And you'll see the sound I showed you from the drop section right here is very similar. Basically, the only difference is that I'm opening the cutoff of the filter up all the way. We also have this airy pluck sound that I like a lot. And this sound is a prime wave, which you can find in the digital section in Serum. And this is a really cool sound. So this envelope down here has a super long release on it, but I've mono checked in the voicing tab so the notes don't bleed into each other. Over in the effects section, I've got some multi-band compression, flanger, chorus, delay, reverb, EQ. So I'm really doing all the processing in the box in Serum with this sound. Just adds a really nice atmosphere to the whole track. I also have some vocal chops going on in the background that I chopped up from the acapella. Without any of the effects, this is what they sound like. Then with the effects. So I'm adding a de-esser, an EQ that's not doing much. Infected Mushroom Manipulator, that's just moving the formant down 6 semitones. Then I have the CLA Vocals plugin, adding some reverb and some slap delay. And then this compressor right here, I'm just sidechaining those vocal chops at the kick. Then I'm sending that to 2 different buses. I'm adding a nice big reverb with Valhalla Vintage Verb. And adding some delay with Echo Boy Jr. So to make the track really atmospheric sounding and have everything fit together, there's some cool layers going on. Like I showed you the pad and the drone sound before. I'm also layering a percussion layer with that sounds like this. And this is just like a woodblock sound. I have an arpeggiator on there that's making it play every 16th note, just so it falls along with that tremolo that's on the pad and that drone sound. If I muted those sounds, everything would sound a lot less full. But when they're added in, everything sounds nice and full. And they really keep the rhythm going because they're playing every 16th note. I'll solo all the drums so you can hear what's going on with them. So a pretty simple drum beat, but I spent a ton of time getting the right samples in there and making sure everything sounded good in the mix. So for the kick, I think I'm using one from my own sample pack. yeah, Big Z Kick 11. You can get that sample pack below if you want it. But yeah, I used a kick from my sample pack. Let's see what other sounds I used. This clap, I think, is also from my sample pack. Yep, Big Z Clap 27. I actually didn't even add any EQ to the clap. It just sat in the mix nicely. Then I'm adding this like shaker / open hat sound. The rest of the track is really just variations on everything I already showed you. Like I said, it's a simple song, but the key to it is really all the automation I did in the background and just building the flow of energy throughout the track and knowing when to expel a lot of energy and build everything up and know when to take it all back. So like after the drop ends right here, you'll notice the energy comes down a lot.
You ain't trying to be wasting time on stupid people in cheap lines, I'm sure.
And I do that by taking certain elements out and also automating certain things to kind of bring them down, like the bass right here being filtered down, these synths right here being filtered by those macros and Serum. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this track, it's how you use automation to keep the flow going and keep the energy moving and keep everything interesting. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. I think I'm gonna do a Q&A for my next video, so ask whatever you want below and I'll try to get to the most thumbed up questions. So ask me whatever you want and I'll get to that in the next video. Other than that, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.